on Colonial Sports Center. Chase Kelly continues to rack up the in-season awards as the men's soccer season rolls on. We're trotting on down to Utah as cross-country hosted the Colonial Invitational this past week. And football is back in the Joe as they get set to take on East Tennessee State on Saturday. All that and more on a brand new episode of CSC.
That's right. Hello and welcome to another new episode of Colonial Sports Center. My name is Colby Sherwin, and we have a new dynamic duo for you tonight. As joining me for the first time as a host is Casey Irwine. Casey, welcome to the show. I don't know what that was, but what do we have for the people at home tonight?
We've got a lot of stuff for the people tonight. Both soccer teams in action tonight. We've got volleyball invitationals. We've got football. We've got cross country today. It's going to be a great show, Colby.
It is going to be a great show, but we're going to kick the show off tonight with some soccer. The women's soccer team has begun the year with a great start, best in program history. Have you heard that yet? But they have gone on a bit of a downward trend to open up conference play. They were looking to finally get a win today, and the second ever against the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons. Let's see how they did as a breaking news score just came into us here. And the Colonials ended up falling this one 2-0. The Mastodons were just too much. Casey, what do you take away from this?
Well, there's definitely still some positives there. I mean, it was a fast start, but it's been a rougher middle. So really just have to pick it up. They got to get more shots on goals. You can see there the leaders only had 3 in total, so that has to be changed. But 2 goals still. The defense still is holding strong, so if they can get the attack going again, they should be all good.
That's right. Still some positive take away from this.
Now, again, with the women's soccer team, they took on early this week Milwaukee, and with the fast start here, they're going to see how they do against Milwaukee. As you can see here, they did not fare well at all. A 9-1 defeat here. The team was outshot by an incredible 34-11, and after only being down 2-1 at the half, 2 players were able to score double in the second half for Milwaukee, helped them blow out the Colonials with a score of 9-1. And Colby, you can see here there was a loss earlier today. You've got the big loss here. What else does the women's soccer team need to do to get back on track?
We were talking about the defense, so I guess they took a step forward today, only allowing 2 goals, because I've never seen a soccer score that high. But we, just score a little bit more. Maybe some better team play. The offense has kind of gotten away from them. Now we're going to move on to the men's soccer team. After a rough start to the year, the men's soccer team has caught fire with the wins over Northern Kentucky and Milwaukee. To keep the winning streak alive, they hosted old NEC rival St. Francis. The Red Flash lead the all-time series 4-11. Let's see if they can finally turn the numbers around in this one. Let's take a look and see how they did. We're showing you again Colonials versus Red Flash up at the North Athletic Complex Center. And watch the Gailey twins go to work. Logan Gailey going to give it to Chase Gailey, and he's been phenomenal for the Colonials, Casey. Watch him here. Goes around the defender, and he's just going to put it back in the net. His 4th goal of the year. An incredible start, Casey.
It is so sweet, that finish. He's been absolutely on a tear. And you can see here down the sideline again, puts in, pass, and shoves out the defender, takes a deflection, and that's just another goal there. And you get all the help you can get.
That was actually Chase Gilly to Logan Gilly. Wasn't able to score, but now the Red Flash are going to go. Mikey Chichia's going to try. He's going to do, I don't know what he was trying to do. Completely misses the net. We'll move on to second half. 1-0 Colonials. Can they get their win? Now, Andrew Israel's going to give it to Max Fitzgerald. He's going to go to net, and watch this. Back over, and no, Bajo says not it today. Blocks the shot, and the Colonials continue to lead 1-0. Phenomenal team defense here. You see the goalie laying on the ground, and some more work here as Evan Melissy, as the Colonials try, and a goalie gets kicked in the face, Kevin. I don't think you're supposed to do that, Casey.
Yeah, I mean, Casey, I know I'm new here, but yeah, you see, the defense holds strong, and what a clearance there. That's how you do it. And Colonials win 1-0 after a stealth but defensive performance after Chase Gilly's early goal.
Now, speaking of the men's soccer team, we have a soundbite for you.
Happy to get a win at home. I'm happy to get another shutout. Really challenging opponent in St. Francis. We just got to recover now.
With men's soccer earlier this week, on the same day that the women's soccer team took on Milwaukee, the men's soccer team did the same. Let's see if they could do better than their counterparts. And as you can see here, they completely turned the script. A 5-0 win, And Chase Gilly had a hat trick, which was able to earn him national honors and Horizon League Player of the Week. Friedrich Petrelli, 4 saves, commanded the defense perfectly, as he also did against St. Francis. And really here, the Colonials on a tear as well. The whole team is just absolutely perfect right now. Colby, what do you take away from these 2 big wins?
Well, great 2 big wins. And speaking of Chase Gilly, you mentioned it. He won Horizon League Offensive Player of the Week, and Frederick Petrone won Defensive Player of the Week for his work in the back of the net. Phenomenal week for the Colonials.
Yeah, the defenders and the goalkeepers especially, they always get overlooked. So to see Petrelli get the honors here, it's just incredible. 18 save shutout against Milwaukee. How often do you see that happen? That is Tim Howard World Cup numbers right there.
Wow, that's some heavy praise for him, but always good to shout out a conference opponent and get a win when you needed one most.
And to hear more from Chase Gilly after he received national attention this week, we're going to send it out with Melina Kniff to hear more from Chase Gilly.
Transfer for Chase Gilly has made an immediate impact since joining the Colonials.
RMU men's soccer team started off the year with a losing streak, but has seemed to have found their niche. Transfer student Chase Gilly has recently been named College Student News Men's National Team of the Week.
It really just helps the team because it just shows all the great work that we've been putting in. So like first couple of games we were really close, we just weren't clicking. And it just shows that we actually started clicking and everything is falling into place as it should.
As a transfer student, getting adjusted to this team hasn't been hard for number 7 while playing alongside his twin brother.
I've adjusted really well. I mean, it helps that I have a twin brother, so he's always been the best guy for me to go to. And then Captain Kelvin Ramirez, he's always been a guy I've always gone to whenever I need help or anything. So that's one of the great people here.
Even though he's still new to the team, he has some ideas on what he'd like to implement on this season to keep this winning streak alive.
On just team camaraderie, honestly, because I've known the past couple of years hasn't been great here, so I just want to make sure everyone is always happy. Even players who don't get in all the time, they're always perfect. They're always happy for the team and always making sure they're involved in everything.
After the win against St. Francis, we asked Chase what he hopes to improve on for the upcoming face-off on Saturday.
Just our pressing. I feel like since Milwaukee as well, we pressed really well, and today we pressed really well, and it got us our first goal. We team press and then switch the field to a 1-2. So I feel like that's what we need to implement in every single game.
Once again, Chase Gilly has found the back of the net. He looks to keep the streak going against Purdue Fort Wayne on Saturday, September 4th at 2 p.m. For Colonial Sports Network, I'm Melina Kniff.
Thank you, Melina, for that in-depth look at Chase Gilly and the men's soccer team. Now, 3 panelists we hope have their football boots on are Bethany Non, Cam Wickline, and Evan Basista, here to break down more of RMU soccer. Bethany, take it away.
Thank you, Colby. I'm sitting here with Evan Basista and then Cam Wickline. How are you both today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Okay, first question is going to go to Cam. What has each team shown so far through the first part of the season?
Well, so far this season, the women's soccer team has been off to a pretty fantastic start. Aside from a game they're going to look to forget against a pretty good Milwaukee team that they lost 9-1. They've gotten a lot of shots on goal. They're averaging a little under 20 shots a game at 19.6, and over half of those shots are landing on goal. So the goalie is usually having to face somewhere around 10 shots a game. And on the flip side, their defense is only allowing about 7 shots a game, and only about less than half of those are getting into the goal. So that's about somewhere between 3 to 4 shots that their goalie's having to face. So really, there's just been a big difference between their defense and offense, and it's just led to some pretty good win totals.
Yeah. Well, for the men's team, if you were to look at their 0-3 record at the start, it'd be misleading. They were playing tougher competition. They played well against their Horizon League foes, which is why they're on the 3-game win streak now, and they've shown that they can win in different ways.
And Evan, who has stood out to you the most?
Well, it has to be Chase Gilly. He's got 4 goals in just the past 2 games alone. He's racking up the national accolades, and if he can keep being the offensive spark plug that they needed, the team's going to keep winning.
And then Cam?
For me, it's not going to be one person. I'm going to have to shout out a couple people. It's just the bench in general. Most teams, they have their starting players, and that's that. There's usually a bit of a drop-off when the bench comes in. But 3 players that are coming off the bench, Gabrielle Laquona, Paloma Swankler, and Kayla Velosa Lima, they are 3 of the top 5 scorers on the team, and yet they're not starting. That has to be a pretty big part of their team. It's giving them a lot of depth. There's no drop-off whenever the bench comes in.
And then Evan, how does the men's team go after 3 straight wins?
Well, they need to continue to bring the pressure early and often. They get their quick goals early in the game, and they're able to shut the other team down with their strong defense, so they can just keep bringing the clamp down in the second half. They'll keep on winning.
And then Cam, how does the women's soccer team respond after all their losing games?
As I said, their offense has been pretty good so far this year, but in their last 3 games, they've only scored 1 goal. That's obviously not going to cut it. That's why they've lost 2 of the last 3 and tied the other one. They need to start getting the ball deeper in the offensive zone. They need to convert on the chances whenever they do get the ball down there.
Well, thank you so much for both being here. Really appreciate you guys being here. And when we come back, volleyball returns to take on Oakland at the UPMC Event Center. Stay tuned on Colonial Sports Center.
The death of George Floyd, who died in police custody Monday night.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation. It's going to take more than just us, as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to help us make a change, because it just can't be us.
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. We're going to head from the North Athletic Complex Center down to the UPMC Event Center as we talk about the volleyball team. The volleyball team opened the Horizon League season in the Danny Dorda era by hosting the Oakland Golden Grizzlies, where they are 0-7 all-time versus them. They were looking to turn it all around on Tuesday. Let's see if they can dig into that win column finally. As I said earlier, Colonials versus Golden Grizzlies at the UPMC Event Center on Tuesday to open up Horizon League play. Patty Tisserani is going to get it here. Just watch. A nice little spike there, and the Golden Grizzlies go up 5-3. They're going to keep working here. And that one was blocked by Paige Rose. She said, not in my house. And Patty Tisserani, you're going to hear her name a lot here. She actually wins the set there for the Golden Grizzlies. They were pretty good in this one. We'll move on to the second set. Grizzlies trying here. Emma Brown says no, and that may be on the top place. Who knows? It's 3-0 Colonials. We're going to move on here. And guess who? It's Patty Tisserani. Over the net, and that will make it 22-21. And we're going to see the Colonials get this one. Annie Monaco, who's been huge for the Colonials, wins set 2, 25-23. They're all knotted up as they head to set 3. And stop me if you heard this name before, but Patty Tisserani, another spike, and the Golden Grizzlies might be pulling away here. Patty Tisserani again. I'm just going to keep saying her name here. Watch this. Up, over, and they win the set again. Now this one is a crazy set, but Emily Wickman, 18-10 Colonials, look like they got this one in the bag. They're up 13-4 at one point, but Patty Tisserani here, she'll get that back. And what is that? Is it tied up? Yes, it is. The Colonials, you're not supposed to play it like that. They get the lead 23-22, and just like that, the choke job is over. The Golden Grizzlies come back to win all the way from 13-4 and win 3-1 in this one. Now we're going to hear from Danny Kid.
There's definitely always positives. We served extremely well, and at times we looked like the well-oiled machine that we're a part. So I would say, yeah, there's always positives even in defeat.
Now last weekend, the women's volleyball team also traveled all the way out to North Carolina, where they played in the Dunn Campbell Invitational and played 3 competitive games. Let's see what was going on there. In the first game, they went out and played NC Central, where they were able to get their first sweep of the season to start the tournament. Allie Chrisman led the game with 19 kills, while Alyssa Hudak was able to put down 11 kills while also adding 3 blocks, as the Colonials put them away 25-11 in the third and final set. As you can see there, Ashley Wallen, 22 assists. Alina Carmody, 3 aces, 11 digs. That's nasty in the back right there.
Now we're moving on to game 2 of the Dunn Camel Invitational. They took on the Camels and they got swept in this one, 25-21, 25-15, 25-6. Oh boy. Emily Matter had 4 aces and 26 assists. Elena Carmody, she had a really good tournament, 15 digs. And Ashley Wallen had 15 assists as well, but they did not do well in this one, Casey.
No, they did not. And you can see that final set, not really competitive at all. And, you know, a lot to improve on there. The defense, once again, Ashley Wallen, 15 assists, another 15 digs for Carmody. So those two are doing well. Just they need to get more to the outside hitters to be able to get more kills there. And now in the next game, the final game of the invite and final non-conference game of the season, the team took on the Citadel Bulldogs. The Colonials came out swinging in the first set as Abby Ryan scored 9 of the team's 15 kills in the first set as they won just by 3 points. And then the Bulldogs showed that they still had bite to that bark of theirs as service aces by Kenzie Kellerman along with defensive errors by RMU helped Citadel take that match with a score of 3-1. And you can see there 47 assists for Belle Hogan of Citadel. Not much RMU could do there.
Now we just broke down a tournament of the volleyball team, and now we have an ace of an analyst, as you will, Michael Deemer. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Colby.
Now let's start off with what has gone wrong for the team. They had a good start, but it hasn't really continued.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with what you're saying. I mean, like you said before, they had the 18-3 or 18-4, whatever the lead was in the fourth set against Oakland, but they just seem they can't close the door. I mean, they also had a set win in the very first set against Campbell, against the host team. But I mean, they just seem they can't close the door. And a bunch of winnable games too. Campbell, I would believe, would be a winnable game for them. The Citadel is a tough competition, but definitely winnable games for them when they were on the road. They did sweep that invitational they were in before in Moorhead, Kentucky. But yeah, they just can't win winnable games, at least last weekend, and also they can't close the door.
Yeah, Coach Doherty talked after the game, and he said that they were looking ahead in that fourth and final set. That's kind of why it fell apart on them. But speaking of Coach, how does he get the team back on track from here as they continue Horizon League play?
He has played Green Bay before in a very competitive game. He's played against Green Bay before, against Green Bay and against Senior Day, but it was a very close game, albeit it was a loss. But if he gets his seniors like Alina Carmody, she's kind of been on the rocky side from recent games, but yeah, definitely needs some upperclassmen to step up.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. And when we come back, we're going to break down football and cross country right here on Colonial Sports Center.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Today, we face an unprecedented crisis. Tens of millions of refugees have been forced from their homes. But you can make a difference. Turn disruption and despair to hope and opportunity. Even small amounts make a big difference. Provide shelter, support, or jobs in your community. The more we understand, the greater sense of belonging we create. Act now. Visit supportcrisisrelief.org.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Colby and I have a lot more to talk about. For now, we're going to get right into some cross country as the team for the second time in a row, hosted an invitational, the RMU Colonial Invitational. Gavin Fitzgerald from the men was able to place 4th place in the 8K, while another woman placed in the 6K. There was a lot to improve on. We actually had Nate Breisinger out there to tell us all about the Colonial Invitational.
For the second consecutive year, Robert Morris hosted the Colonial Invitational here at Youthtown in Clinton, PA, as Robert Morris welcomed a number of schools from Western Pennsylvania to compete in the 8K for the men's side and the 6K for the women's side. Robert Morris welcomed a list of local schools, including Carnegie Mellon, Duquesne, Edinboro, Seton Hill, and Clarion. Head coach Brian Delsite mentioned the importance of hosting the Colonial Invitational once again at Youthtown.
It's nice. The people out here are out here at Youthtown are great with the course, so they help us set it up, and it's really nice to be able to like have home competitions where our kids get to run in front of their friends and families and stuff. So and we just like getting like some of the local teams to come out here and be able to compete against some teams from the area.
In the early morning sun and dampened grass, the men's 8-kilometer race kicked off the day. Robert Morris had 6 runners finish in the top 30, as Delsite was pleased with the results, especially for a team that is young and working towards improvement.
Tyler Pazowski, he was our number 1 guy. He's a freshman. And Skylar Vavro was our number 2 guy. He's a sophomore. The guys, this is only the second year back when the program being reinstated, so we're really young. It's all freshmen and sophomore. So we had we're starting to build a nice group there of young guys. We ended up finishing 3rd. Carnegie Mellon won, Edinboro was 2nd, we were 3rd, and Duquesne's. Now some of their top guys I think are at a different meet. They were 4th, and then Seton Hill was 5th. So it was nice to beat a couple teams, run pretty well as a group.
The women's 6-kilometer race capped off the day, as RMU once again had a number of individuals who finished with strong times, including 2 runners who finished in the top 25.
Our top woman was Grace Mason. She's probably our top returner. She's a sophomore. And then our second person was Ava Lodig. She is a freshman. And then we had another group of freshmen in there. We had another sophomore, Laura Croco was our 3rd girl. And then Julia Dill and Samantha Thomas were our next 2, and they're both freshmen. So again, it's all freshmen and sophomores, basically.
As the 2022 season moves along, Delsite has seen the underclassmen-led men's and women's teams progress with their first 2 meets.
As a young team, we're just trying to get better each meet. We had a nice meet early in the season up at Westminster 2 weeks ago. They ran really well there, but that was a 5K for both the men and the women. So we kind of got to the championship distance here, running 6K. And actually, our course is a little long. She ran a little bit over 6K for the women, a little bit over 8K for the men. It was kind of just seeing how they would respond to running the championship distance now here. And we're about 5 weeks into the season. So yeah, just making progress, progressing. The ultimate goal is to be at our best when we get to the Horizon League Championships in the end of October. So I think we're on a good path. Like I said, we're super young, so a lot of it's just about getting experience for our kids.
With the Colonial Invitational in the books here at Youthtown, the Robert Morris men's team finished 3rd overall behind Carnegie Mellon and Edinboro, as Tyler Peskowski finished with the highest time for the Colonials. And then on the women's side, they finished 6th out of 6 teams, with Grace Mason finishing as the highest runner with a time of 24 minutes and 49 seconds. The Colonials' next meet is live at the Lou in Louisville on October 1st. For Colonial Sports Center, I'm Nathan Breisinger.
Thank you, Nathan, for the great stuff once again. And now we're going to send it out to his partner in crime, Ethan Morrison, who's got the latest scoop on the football team ahead of their game against ETSU this Saturday.
After dropping their last game to Miami of Ohio by a final score of 31-14 2 weeks ago, Robert Morris had a chance to rest and recover this past week during their bye week and are set to take on East Tennessee State at noon on Saturday at Joe Walton Stadium. Now, the big question mark heading into this game is the status of quarterback Anthony Chicken. Clark spoke on the decision this week on who will be under center for the Colonials.
Well, Chicken's not going to be back this week, so Jake's going to start this week. Chicken, his shoulders are still bothering him a little bit, so he's going to sit out this week. We're going to try to get him back next week for Del State, but right now we got Jake.
A number of other players for the Colonials were also banged up in the loss to Miami of Ohio, but Clark also stated that they should be good to go for other than DeAndre Hicks, who sat out the last game, also nursing an injury, but that will be a game time decision on Saturday. Another big concern coming into this game is the running game. At this point, the running game has struggled at this stage in the season, not really getting much done on the ground. Clark also spoke on how the run game needs to improve and what they are doing to improve during practice this week.
I think the big thing is our O-line's improving. I think that's what kind of started us with a slow game. We moved some guys around on the O-line a little bit, so I think that's going to help us a lot. So that's going to help us improve our running game.
But as for their opponent in East Tennessee State, they dropped their last 2 games to Southern Conference opponents, including their last game to Furman last weekend. But they come into this game looking to get their first Division I win of the season as they take on Robert Morris. Clark spoke on the preparation for East Tennessee State this week and what they bring to the table as an offense.
Offensively, the quarterback's extremely well. Very good coach quarterback, and then running back's an outstanding player. So running game's become kind of tough against us on defense, even though we maybe stop people in the red zone. So we got to try to contain that quarterback and do a great job with him and make sure we can get that defense on their toes.
With the Colonials rested and recovered heading into this week against East Tennessee State, it'll be interesting to see what Jake Simmons can do in his first start under center. But we will have to find out on Saturday at noon. Reporting for Colonial Sports Center, I'm Ethan Morris.
Thank you, Ethan, for that in-depth look on the football team this weekend. Now, when we come back, this dynamic duo is going to break down the most dynamic plays in Colonial action this week with the top 5 plays of the week right here on Colonial Sports Center.
Do you want to meet a family with a transgender kid? Here we are. Max loves to do backflips. Max loves to play his ukulele. Max loves to just be a kid and just be himself. When I found out I was pregnant, all I really wanted was a happy, healthy, whole child. And that's what I got. I think it's really important for people to know that trans kids don't have a political agenda. They are just kids. Like any parent, we love our kids unconditionally, and we will never stop fighting for them. Stand with us. Protect our families.
Wait! Not in the toilet!
No, don't do that. No.
Don't hit your brother! Oh!
Not again!
What did I tell you about playing in the mud?
Raffy, not so close to the pool. Wait!
Frankie, Tabby, what are you doing? We told you never to touch the gun!
I'm sorry, I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
You could have hurt yourself!
Safely store your guns, unload, lock, and away from ammo.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. Now, Casey, I know you're new to hosting, but this is the most fun thing you can do. Are you ready for it?
Oh, I'm so ready for this. I've been waiting for that all day, in fact.
All right, then let's do the top 5 plays of the week. Here we go. And as we were talking about top 5 plays of the week, you can see right there, we're going to head to the UPMC Event Center for the volleyball team and watch this. Blocked by Emma Brown, and she says, not in my house, then spikes it. That's the way to do it, Casey.
Absolutely. What a nasty block, and then bam, right back up. Perfect kill right there. And now number 4 here, we've got men's soccer here. Glides past the defender, slips it inside, and in the back of the net. What a finish, so simple and clean, and you can take whatever you get right there as RMU then defeated St. Francis because of that goal by Chase Gilly.
Chase Gilly, what a year. Back to volleyball here. Emily Wickman gets a nice save here by Paige never mind, gets it over the net, and the Colonials get a block, and they're going to score off this. Wild play, Paige Gross with the block. Little slip of the tongue there.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Now on to number 2 here. We've got men's soccer once again against the blowout win against Milwaukee. Turns back, puts in a delicious cross for the header, in for the goal as Chase Gilly again opened the scoring, and I think he might have hit a gritty on that play afterwards.
Is that what we're calling that?
I think I'm not sure. I didn't see it for sure, but I'm pretty sure there was a gritty.
Well, he tried it. Back to volleyball. Number 1, Chase Gilly. Tucked all day on the breakaway. He gets it in the back of the net, and Chase Gilly, what a year. The hack trick is complete.
What a finish in the top corner that was on the volley, slipping away. Absolutely perfect by Chase Gilly, the number 7. What a finish for number 1.
What a great week of Colonial action, Casey. Now, a couple games we think you should watch. Of course, it's Parents Weekend on Saturday. Football team's taking on East Tennessee State. I think you should check that game out this week.
Yeah, definitely check that one out. And I also recommend next week, I think it's September 27th, women's volleyball team takes on Cleveland State at home here at UPMC Event Center. Try to tune in to watch it. Andy Monaco looks to continue a great season as the Colonials will have to look out for Lakin Voss, who has 145 kills already.
And we're just going to continue to talk about the football game. Jake Simmons will make his first career start, announced by head coach Bernard Clark today. Still no word on Anthony Schick's injury, but he will not start today.
Well, you got to be for that then. It could be the start of a fantastic career. You never know what's going to happen with Jake Simmons at the helm now.
Continuing with football, we have an interview with Taven Harville. But next week, for KCR1, I'm Colby Sherwin. Thank you so much for watching Colonial Sports Center.